Hi, I'm Fred. Welcome to Fred Makes. Today we're making puppet eyes. As a hobbyist who collects hobbies, I of course have a 3D printer. I also started school as a mechanical engineering major, so I've got a little design background. So I decided, after watching Adam's most recent video on puppet eyes, also linked below, that a better way of doing things might be to 3D print my own. So I did. I designed what I think is a very good puppet eye system, which we'll talk about today. I designed the model in OpenSCAD because I'm a programmer and I find OpenSCAD to be a lot easier than some of the others. It's a hemisphere, it's got a hole in the back, and it's got a little plug that goes in the hole. If you can see on the detail here, there's a little chamfer at the bottom of that, and there's a matching chamfer actually in the hole. The first time I modeled it, I just had a straight up and down stem, snapped right off. So, chamfer adds a little beefiness there for the 3D print. It makes it work well. Like all 3D prints, there are a little bit of artifacts left over. You want to sand off. The way I printed this, it does have a seam on the backside. You should be able to see there. I said backside. It's also because it's a circle, the top layers kind of get rough. I printed this at a 0.2 layer height. You can go a lot smaller and get a better print. But quite frankly, between this and a little filler primer, the results are pretty good. So let's sand this up, let's prime it, and let's put on a first coat.
FYI, spend more than $1 on your spray paint.
Now, as you would have seen in the intro, I used the eyes for the snoof. Okay, so the eyes are a little bit large on this snoof. But that's okay. I've got multiple sizes. Now, I printed these, primed them, painted them as according to Adam's tutorial, got them ready, put them on, and yeah, they're a little big. Not to worry, designing your own things means that you can change the size anytime you need. It could be great big, it could be small, it could be round, it could be, well, I mean, they're eyeballs though. So even though these work just fine, I do want a smaller version for snoof sizes. These would be more like the full puppet sizes like I showed earlier. If you go down to the link in the description, I'll have this design up for sale on Cults 3D. It'll include not only the 50 mil size of these, are these 50? Are they 44? What size are these? I don't know, you idiot! You did it! Puppets are fun. Whatever size this will be large. There'll be a slightly smaller size, and then a more spherical model for your, frog-like structures. Kermit the Frog had eyes like these. Now that we have the eye painted properly, let's attach it to some fleece. This is just a piece of scrap. This would be easier if you didn't put the eyes on last, but typically with a puppet you kind of do. So there are going to be a little bit of differences. Now what I would try to do even with a puppet, and it wouldn't have worked with the snoof so I didn't do it that way, is you cut a little hole, you put the stem through it just to make sure, and I would use maybe a little bit of hot glue. I'm going to use some super glue though to keep the stem attached to the fabric itself. Pretty much anything you can do to make sure it stays attached, you want to do. On the snoof, I trimmed the fleece around on the outside. Actually, that was more of a fur. I trimmed the fur more on the outside. Try to give it a little bit more of an attachment point. I didn't trim enough. I could have done it a little bit better, but my eyes were also very large on that one, so it was a little bit harder. This is just standard CA glue. The reason I would use hot glue instead of this is because my hot glue gun is not warmed up because I didn't plan well. It's just because it's more flexible. So I get that one stuck down. I've got weldwood here. You can use barge, any kind of contact cement. I buy this because I can get it locally. I don't really like ordering liquids to be delivered. Liquids specifically because they're so dang heavy. Anything dense, the shipping costs get really kind of ridiculous. So basically, you've got it here. What I was doing was just like any contact cement. And yes, I should be wearing a little bit more like a respirator for this, um, but it's very little. I'm in a fairly open room, although it is my basement, so it doesn't have a lot of ventilation. Check that out. You saw how easily I cut that? That's because that's not the first time that happened. Like any contact cement, put it on both sides, let it dry a little bit. Although with the fabric, it's do what you can. Because of that, and because I didn't mark out exactly how wide I want this to be, what I would do and what I did on the snoof, which works really well, is put it onto the eye, dab it around as wide as you think you need it on this without going over, because you don't want to see it on your fur or your fleece, whichever. And then go ahead and put down the eye. If it's still wet, it'll actually stick to more things. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Is it too late? It's not too late. You put a drop of CA glue in the hole for the stem, because you want the glue points there too. Essentially, you want as much glue points as possible. And then you just smush it down and let it dry. And from this point, you can put on a pupil or leave it a ghostly white dead eye. Whatever you like. Either one, dealer's choice. It really depends on the puppet design you're going for. So there you have it. Puppet Eyes. 3D printed, prepped, painted, and glued on. Like I said before, I'll have links down in the description where you can purchase these designs or design it yourself. I can't stop you. I'm going to send this finished sample and these two blanks to Adam Krutinger as a thank you for the information he's given out to all of us for free. I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out the rest of my videos. Check out my other channels. Thank you for watching. I'll catch y'all later.